Hey everybody, Vivi Magic here with a new video about my recent trip to Epcot in Florida at Walt Disney World to visit the Flower and Garden Festival. It's one of my favorite events that they hold every spring. This shirt actually I'm wearing is from 2018. I love the festival so much. I love all the topiaries, the beautiful colors. So I wanted to share some of my favorite moments and experiences with you, some of my tips and tricks. And I spent about a week figuring out how I wanted this video to look. And I'm glad I took the time because along the way, I came up with a couple of really great ideas for use cases involving digital collectibles to sort of market and bring awareness to the wider Disney fan base and demographic that I thought were really cool and just wanted to share. And hopefully you guys enjoy everything that you get to see here. So I stayed at the Dolphin Hotel, and it's part of two hotels, the Swan and Dolphin. Fun fact is the architect, Michael Graves, was also the architect for the executive team building at Walt Disney Studios in Burbank that has the seven dwarfs on the top of the building. I covered that in a previous video when I did my tour of Walt Disney Studios. And it was so funny when I sort of sat back and looked at the buildings because you can see his style so much. He has since passed, but he did some really amazing architectural work in his career. The Dolphin Hotel is amazing, in my opinion, for multiple reasons. It's not like an official Disney hotel. It's actually managed by Marriott. So if you're a Marriott member, you get points for it. Also, it is massive. It's very close to the parks. It offers free transportation by bus to the further parks, or there's a water taxi that can take you to Epcot or Disney Studios, and it's just basically right outside your hotel room, so it's super easy to get to. There's tons of pools. It has like its own beach and these like swan vehicles you can go paddle around in. That may have been promotional because there was also an event going on. They hold conventions because it's a very large hotel. But if they're there all year, that's fun. And also there's an arcade for the kids that has prizes. There's a lot of great restaurants. There's a spa. There's a kids club, which I learned about and doing some of my research for this. And I wish I knew the last time I went when I had my kids with me, because it's open from 4 to 11 p.m. every day. And so you can like do an early morning at the parks and then, spend some time with your significant other or by yourself and go to the boardwalk or into Epcot or the studios and just have some alone adult time. So that's a tip. If I stay there again in the future, I will definitely look into that. It's not free, but it was, from what I saw, was very affordable. So that's another great feature. And I was blessed with my room wasn't ready, and I was said, okay, I'll just take any room. And I got a handicap accessible room, and it happened to have a patio on the outside as well as beautiful views of the water. So that was my place to wind down at the end of the day. And it was beautiful weather while I was there. So I got to kick back and relax and people watch from my balcony, and that was really fun. A couple of other really great features about this hotel is that if you have your own rental car, as long as you have your room key with you, you can get free parking into the parks. And I believe their parking now is like around $25. So if you're doing 5 days at these theme parks, that's a great savings. Also, you can get early access into the parks. So I was able to get into Epcot at 8:30 as opposed to the opening time at 9. And on certain days, they also have late access where you get to stay, I think, an hour later. And I was reading up that there's a queue system for the Guardians ride because it's new, and it's at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. But if you have the late access, you have another chance to go on the ride and enter a queue at, I believe, 6 p.m. So that's a really cool feature that I kind of wish I knew before going, but good to know now and for future reference. Though that ride probably won't have a queue system the next time I go. They are bringing in a new ride based on Moana. And my guess is, like they do with most popular rides, is they introduce them with a queue system in order to be able to filter enough people through, and it's not just a 3-hour long line all day long. So this queue system just allows a specific amount of people to enjoy it every day. So it's just not these overwhelming lines, and it saves them from a ton of complaints of people that waited for hours and hours and hours, and then the ride broke down, or they never got to go on because it got too late. So I enjoy the queue system, but it does come with a learning process. You have to know it exists. You have to know how to access it. You have to know when to access it. And so that's some of the things I will go through towards the end of the video to hopefully, if any of you are getting ready to go visit the parks, we'll be able to use. We just recently had that queue system being used for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland, but they have since gotten rid of it, and now it's just a normal queue like any of the other rides, or you can get a fast pass for the ride if you want to skip the line. I really enjoy Epcot's Flower and Garden Festival because there's a lot of different activities and things to experience while you're there. There's the beautiful topiaries of all of our favorite characters, which one of my favorite things, I probably spent the majority of my day visiting every single topiary that I could, and also trying to do some augmented reality photos with my collectibles with them, which was really fun. And it, brings a new level of excitement and entertainment to these digital collectibles that I own. So I will make sure I include a lot of those pictures and some of the before and after, where you can see them standalone by themselves, and then also with our digital collectibles inserted and accompanying them. Also, there's a lot of exhibits and gardens. I took a walk through the Butterfly Landing, which is a beautiful exhibit. You can learn all about the process of becoming a butterfly, and you can see them actually, I guess, growing or transforming in this Butterfly Landing. And it's really neat. Some people were able to see them actually, hatch from their cocoons and fly off, which is a pretty fun experience. Some of the other great things that Epcot Flower and Garden Festival has to offer is there's outdoor kitchens, there's specialty food and drink items throughout the World Showcase. There's the Scentsy Blossoms of Fragrance areas where you can go up and see these plants or flowers that give off really strong aromas, and you can learn about them. So I love that the park is also very educational year round, because you learn about all the different cultures when you travel World Showcase. But this event also gives you a lot of information about agriculture and horticulture. So it's really interesting and beautiful, beautiful. I can't describe enough. One of my favorite reasons for going during this time is the floral arrangements and just the planters and everything surrounding the parks. It's so vibrant, stunning, beautiful, creative. I mean, there's hidden Mickeys in the plants. It's such a beautiful time of year to go. Plus, the weather is typically a lot better. I think it was like mid 80s when I went, and very low humidity for Florida, which was very nice. I definitely enjoyed that. Another thing I really love about Epcot is it's the kind of park where you can never run out of things to do, experience, see. Even though there's not that many rides, there's always something else you can experience. For those of you that don't know, one of the things I love about Epcot is that in every country, the cast members, the majority of the cast members working there are from that exact country. So you get this full cultural experience, even though you're in Florida, which I think is really amazing. Sad thing was I went once during COVID, and because of COVID, you didn't get that experience. It was all local people for the most part operating. But this last time that I went, it was so nice to see and experience cast members from their respective countries. And I was looking for a new food opportunity to experience while I was there. I do tend to sometimes go to the same places, but I wanted something different. And I don't remember how I found out, but I found out that there was a teppanyaki restaurant in Tokyo, which is where they cook in front of you in front of a hibachi grill. And so I was like, I'm going to give this a try. So I made a reservation and I went, and I had a great experience. It's fun because you're at a table with other people and you get to talk to them. But it was also very, very cultural. The waitress, did some of her, Japanese customs, spoke her language, but also in English. And so it was much different than going, locally here in California to a teppanyaki restaurant. So I really enjoyed that. Also, the food was amazing. I love that I was curious to see what sort of entertainment they were going to do, because that's typical of a teppanyaki restaurant. And when they cook in front of you, they do some tricks and showmanship. And I love that he made a Mickey out of the vegetables on the hibachi grill. I thought that was really cute and clever and still making it Disney. So great memories from that experience. And that's another experience I would recommend. I did enjoy that. Another great thing that the park does during this time of year is they have live entertainment. And I'm really bummed that I didn't get to see the whole show, but I happened to be walking by when the entertainment was going and they had a huge crowd. And come to find out, it was the former lead vocalist for Journey. And so I caught, I think, two, maybe three of his songs. And he was phenomenal. I mean, sounded so good. So if you're going to go during this time of year, I highly recommend, sort of doing a little bit of preliminary research and mapping out the sort of things that you would want to do. Because I would have loved to have been there earlier to experience that entire show. It was really, really good. Another fun offering that Epcot has for people to experience during this time of year is the Spike's Pollination Exploration, which, if you don't know, Spike is a bee. Let's see if I can get him right there. And you've seen him in some cartoons, Mickey Mouse cartoons. And it's basically an Easter egg hunt. And you go throughout the entire World Showcase trying to find this. Oh, where is he? Trying to find this little bee throughout the areas, and you get like a hint of where to go and look for him, but you have to find him, and then you put the corresponding sticker for what you saw on the mark to complete the scavenger hunt. And then at the end of the scavenger hunt, you take this back to where you bought it. There's several places throughout Epcot where you can purchase these and you can redeem it. And this year you could redeem it for a plate or a cup, which some people like to collect. And you had 4 options. There was Spike the Bee, Snow White, who's being sort of featured in the Flower and Garden Festival this year, Figment, who's basically the Epcot mascot, and the Orange Bird, which is also another Florida Walt Disney World sort of character. There's also other hunts like this that exist both at Disney World and at Disneyland. There's the Extravaganza, and this happens at both parks at Disneyland as well as Downtown Disney. And last year I did Disneyland and also can't remember if I did Downtown Disney or California Adventure, but this is something I look forward to every single year. It's really fun for the family. And it gives us something different to do at the parks. And, the kids get excited about getting the prize at the end of it. You can get your prize when you buy it if you don't want to have to go back, which is a nice option. Or if you want to really have that scavenger hunt element of it for your family or yourself, you can wait until you complete all the tasks and go back and redeem. And they usually stamp it. Like this one has a stamp that says complete when you finish. There's also Pluto's Pumpkin Pursuit. That has happened for a couple of years that I've noticed at Downtown Disney, where they have pumpkins painted as sort of like different characters, and you have to find them. And again, you can redeem for a cup or whatever the prize is. And this one is $9.99, and this one is $7.99 to do. So it's not a big investment. It's something fun for the family. And this is where I got into sort of the use case for marketing and bringing awareness to digital collectibles. And I just thought it would be such a perfect tie-in. What if you did these scavenger hunts and at the end, instead of claiming this physical item that they had to produce, you could claim a digital item. And then, every year, maybe it's a different theme. And every year you get a different digital collectible and you can have this whole series. So with these eggs, you get a little plastic physical egg at the end. But every year they also create a collection. Last year, I believe, was Small World. A couple years prior, it was Haunted Mansion. And it's like this case of 3 eggs, and people collect these things. Or you could do sort of both. You could get the physical and you could also get a digital. And I just think it'd be great opportunity for marketing, because they're not like, shoving it down anybody's throat and making them have to do anything, but it would get a lot more eyes and awareness to digital collectibles. And the fact that it's sort of along the same lines with collecting, you're appealing to this collector's market and the people that do this. So I just think it's a great opportunity. Another way they could do it is Disney, for every holiday, comes out with plushes that correspond. Every Halloween, they have a a different one that they do, a different design. Same, Easter, they come out with different designs and they sell these in the stores. I mean, these are other options for NFTs that they could do. But, I think about, say they produce 500,000 of these and somebody goes on the app and they redeem it. And then they start looking around and they say, okay, I have one of 500,000, but look at this piece that's amazing. And there's only, 5,000 of them. I feel like it's such a great way to appeal to a broader audience in a sort of natural and organic way. And that's why I thought it was a really cool idea. The other idea I had, which could be sort of the same, or you could go a different route, is I was also thinking about PoApps. We recently did a giveaway through Women X veve of a PoApp for a Twitter space that we had celebrating International Women's Day. And so people that attended got this PoApp, which is like, if you don't know already, it's a proof of attendance protocol. And it's basically a badge of honor to say that you participated in an event or were present. That would work really well for these kind of things. And here's another one I got from veve for the Decon kickoff party. Or Disneyland likes to give away buttons. I have probably 50 or more of them. And you can get them for going to specific restaurants. You can get them to celebrate an event. There's all sorts of different buttons you can get. You can get them for being an honorary citizen of Disneyland, for doing something nice and a cast member seeing you. There's also birthday buttons for Mickey Mouse. So I got one in 2019. And I also got one last year, right before Decon, actually, for Mickey and Minnie's birthday party in 2022. And the interesting thing about these guys is they are the same shape as a PoApp. So what if you entered the parks? They'll have it for other events too. There's a Marvel one I got that was celebrating a certain year anniversary of Marvel. And what if you could also correspond and get a PoApp for being there that day? That's something that I feel like people would go hog wild over, because I'm not the only one that collects these things. I've gotten ideas of how to display my buttons based off of other people that collect buttons. I mean, they resell them online. I can't even tell you how many of these things that I have. I have them for all the restaurants. And it just clicked in my head that this would be a great way to introduce, again, digital collectibles and NFTs, is if you created PoApps that corresponded with these, and another way for people to collect something, and they don't have to worry about it ever getting tarnished or thrown away or taking up space, and they have this thing forever as a memory and a keepsake of their time. So that was just a couple of my ideas, and I'm excited to see what Disney and Marvel and Star Wars and Pixar do in the future with not only their NFTs, but also appealing and reaching broader audiences, because I'm sure our community is not the only ones thinking about this. And obviously we want to wait till all the pieces of the puzzle are there and everything is working the way that it needs to be working. But these are the kind of things that excite me and that I look forward to in the future with collecting and getting the broader fan bases on, because I know they're there and I see them every single time I go to the parks. But I am also like them. If I had not been introduced to veve through family, I would never know to this day that veve exists, because I never had Twitter. So I never would have seen the tweet that Disney put out for Golden Moments. And I also, I just follow a lot of Disney Instagram handles as well as influencers. And it just takes one of those guys to put something about these digital collectibles out to reach a broader fan base and audience. I mean, I can't tell you how many things that I've seen that people that go to the parks every day do Instagram lives on, or then they do pictures of all the merchandise, and I see it there first. And then I go to the parks and I want to collect that because I see it and I get really excited about it. The same is true with popcorn buckets. And so those are the little things that could just make this boom and explode. And, we've heard veve talking about that they're going to be implementing new marketing strategies this year. And these are just some of the things that came to mind in my head that would be really cool and exciting to see. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm very hopeful for the future and looking forward to getting these strong fan bases on board. So aside from the Flower and Garden Festival, the other reason I chose Epcot out of all the other parks to visit while I was there, I only had enough time to go to a park one day, was because of the Guardians ride. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is the newest ride at Epcot, and it is fantastic. We have a ride in California that's Guardians based, but it is completely different. Like, just the storyline is different. The mechanisms that operate the ride are completely different. It's incomparable. The first time I rode it, I kind of went in a little bit skeptical because I love the Guardians ride here so much, but you almost can't compare them because they're so different. This ride was invented by the Imagineers. It's an omni coaster. So you have a typical roller coaster car with each separate car, but they're all connected. But the individual cars can move independently in tandem with the ride and how the ride operates. And so you're not just sitting straight the whole time, you're facing different directions and not spinning per se, but you're doing a lot of things. So I do recommend maybe not doing it on a full stomach because it might upset you. The one thing that I was upset about when I went the last time is that I only did it once, and there is an opportunity for you to ride it twice. And again, if you like it, I recommend doing it a second time. But I did get off and I was a little queasy, a little uneasy. So I didn't take the opportunity to ride a second time, and I was always kicking myself for it. So this time I made sure to do so. So the way the queue system works is you need to have the Disney World app on your phone, and you need to make sure that your park ticket is tied to the app so that the app recognizes that you're going to be at the park that day. And then on the bottom right are 3 lines, and you tap that and it brings up a screen of just different options, and you want to click virtual queues. And at 7 a.m. the day you're going is when that virtual queue opens. So you confirm your party, and then you sit there and you just press this refresh button to keep refreshing the screen until it hits 7. And you want to nail it right at 7 and get that drop per se. And I was lucky enough to get group 6. I will say, if you're going to do the 7 a.m. group, make sure that you are going to be ready to leave in case you get an early boarding group. So if you get, my boarding group was 8:40 to 9:40, and I barely got there in time because I was getting off Ratatouille. And if you miss it, you usually have a 5 to 10 minute leeway, but if you miss it, you missed your chance and you don't get to ride it. So if you're, at a hotel that's 30 minutes away, I would just say be prepped just in case you get that early morning boarding group so that you don't miss the opportunity. The other option is there's also a 1 p.m. queue. The catch is you have to be inside the park to do the 1 p.m. queue, and it works exactly the same way. Now, for those of you thinking you can do the 7 a.m. queue and then the 1 p.m. queue, the app will not let you do that. It will recognize if you already wrote it and will not let you go a second time. I've tried. However, you can buy a fast pass for it, which is $15. And so that will allow you to go on a second time, which is what I did. So I went on at 9:40. And then when I was able to, at I think 9 a.m., you have to wait until the park officially opens to buy fast passes for certain rides. I bought it right then. And so my second ride time was like around 3:30 in the afternoon. And I'm so happy I did. And I was lucky enough to get 2 different songs. The ride has different song sequences, and it will give you a completely different experience based on what song you get. My favorite was Tears for Fears. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which was, no pun intended, an emotional roller coaster. That song, I don't know why, just how the ride moved and interacted. It was very emotional for me, and I got like choked up. It was just such an experience and so amazing. And I've never experienced a ride like this before. So again, if you get the opportunity to ride it and you can handle roller coasters that might shake you up a little bit, I highly, highly recommend it. If anybody who's interested in wanting to know more about the queue system and this isn't maybe translating well, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. There are a lot of things to learn when it comes to the app and the Genie Plus system and the queue system. It has taken me a while to get used to it. So I'm happy to help anybody that has questions. I hope you enjoyed this shorter length video about my experience at Epcot and getting to see all my digital collectibles with some of their counterparts and just all the beautiful scenery, and learn about some of the rides and experiences and food offerings. And also, that use case that I brought up for, both veve digital collectibles, and also the PoApps. And, hopefully that's stuff that we can look forward to in the future or something along those lines. I'm excited to see what marketing comes up with. I think there's some exciting things that could happen. So stay tuned.